Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Deve Gopavana Acharya Sunyavadi Paskachada Satarani Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Well, where is no, don't confuse him. Where is Ram Bilas? Now, Averill, do you actually know what you're doing, or are you speculating? We don't want any speculation. All right, we don't want speculation, so don't hover over his shoulder. It'll make him nervous. Would it do any good to try to reboot it? Because this is disappointing. I could say one thing. I want to say something that you guys hear. So let me say something. I won't mention it again tomorrow. But we did a little there was a question about why are we called Rupanugas. I'm just fiddling till he gets this thing going. Oh, look at that. Maybe I don't have to fiddle. It was there and it's gone now. Okay, can we expand it to fill the screen? Yeah, just now coming. Well, no. So near yet so far. Come on. No, that's silly. All right, never assume that it's going to be easy. That's the future thing. Okay, so there was a question yesterday about why are we called Rupanugas? And there was a lot of, I think, it might be, maybe, which frankly, I was trained, we don't really proceed on that basis. So I thought, okay, let's do a little research. And I found Prabhupada's comments in the teachings of Lord Chaitanya, in the Nectar of Devotion, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, and then in a number of his lectures and conversations. Then I sent out the question to our GBC conference. And I heard back from, and I'll get a few more over the next few days. That's why I was waiting to mention it, but we're just trying to fiddle time. So we heard from Bhakti Vaibhav Maharaj and from Banu Maharaj and Hridayananda Maharaj. And to put it in a summary, this is quite disappointing. To put it in a summary, would it make any difference if we put it on our computer? I should have brought it over on a pen drive, because we can't keep doing this. It's extremely frustrating. Anyway, in summary, there's an esoteric reasons, and there are internal and external, esoteric and exoteric reasons why we're called Rupanugas. And in summary, it's a little distracting. Oh, Govinda, please. In summary, the external reason, the exoteric reason, is that the definitive statements and understanding of the practice and meaning of devotional service is found in Rupa Goswami's Nectar of Devotion. The Nectar of Devotion is the 10 days of teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Rupa Goswami. And so you have the Hari Bhakti Vilas by Sanatana Goswami, but that is specific daily duties for householders. That's the focus. But the whole spectrum, how to practice the devotional service, and all the different explanations and practices and philosophical underpinnings, everything you find in Rupa Goswami's Nectar of Devotion. So that is the external reason why we are called Rupanugas. The internal, esoteric reason is that Rupa Goswami is our Ras Acharya. He infuses, not that the others don't, just like you've got the Bhagavatam, and Prabhupada said it's full, fuller, and fullest. Everything you need to know is in the first canto, and yet it expands. So then this doesn't in any way diminish the books, the other writings of the six Goswamis, but the fullest, deepest infusion of ras, of the taste of devotion and all of its different rasas, we learn from Rupa Goswami. He's our Rasacharya. So those are the external and internal reasons. Look at that, why we are called Rupanugas.
Thank you.
Okay, just thought, and there is. So we want to avoid, I think it might be, maybe.
Here's my date of birth.
What's that?
The date of birth is 1488. So I said this is...
Yes. So we can start. This is the birth of Sri Chaitanya, of Sanatan Goswami. He was born in 1483 in Jessore district in Bangladesh. Now, yeah, whatever it is. I'll make it on my own. This is Jessore district. This is Bangladesh. This is the Jessore district. And why this is nice is because right over here is Mayapur. So it's just on the border of Bangladesh and India, right on the Ganga. Next. So it's elaborately described. The references I have here are from the Chaitanya Charitamrita and the pastimes and activities of, obviously I couldn't put everything in this slideshow, but you can look in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's just wonderful. So next. This is the village of Ramakeli, where Sanatan Goswami and Rupa Goswami were born. And they made a model of Vrindavan. They had a Govardhan Hill, they had a Radhakund, they had a Shamakund. When Sanatan Goswami would write this Kadamba Kanana, which means Krishna who appreciates and enjoys the forest of Kadamba flowers, when he would write in the mood of separation, all the leaves would fall off the trees. And when he would write in the mood of meeting, all the flowers would bloom. So it's a very mystical place and a mystical atmosphere. Next. And this is Shamakund. This is at their Ramakeli. Next. And this is their family temple, the Sanatana. Originally their line is from Saraswati Brahmins in South India, but they'd moved a few generations earlier to Bangladesh, which was all one, it was all Bengal then. So this is their family temple. Next. And this is their family deities, Madan Mohan, Sri Madan Mohan of Rupa and Sanatan Goswami. Next. In his youth, in a dream, a beautiful Brahmin boy, actually Krishna, came to him and gave him a Srimad Bhagavatam. Next, to Sanatan Goswami. And these are some lines written by Sanatan Goswami glorifying the Bhagavatam. Very sweet. There's a whole, now when I ask, hey Dravida, so what is this name of that? There's a whole glorification of the Bhagavatam by Sanatan Goswami. It's a series of about 10 verses.
Yeah, at the end of the book.
That's Stava. All right, so here we go. O Srimad Bhagavatam, O nectar churned from the ocean of Vedic literatures, O singular transcendental fruit of all the Vedas, O rich mind of precious gems of all conclusive truths, O you who grant spiritual vision to all the people of the world, O life, breath of the Vaishnavas, O Lord, you are the sun risen to dispel the darkness of Kali. You are actually Lord Krishna returned amongst us. Some of these are riffs or paraphrases of verses in the Bhagavatam itself. Next, we just have 2 more. O Srimad Bhagavatam, O my only friend, O my constant companion, O my spiritual master, O my great wealth, O my Savior, O my good fortune, O my source of bliss, I offer respectful obeisances unto you. And this from the Sri Krishna Lila Stava at the end of that. So this is we're holding it in our hands, we're distributing it, but little do we understand of the real weight and depth and ecstasy of reading Srimad Bhagavatam. Next. So he met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Ramakeli in 1513. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, I have come just to deliver you. Because, why have you come to Ramakeli? There's so many villages. And Mahaprabhu said, I've come just to save you. Next. This is a letter that he wrote to Lord Chaitanya. And he was saying what to do. I'm entangled. I'm under actually the Nawab, we'll get to the Nawab, that was the king of Bengal, actually part of Orissa, all of Bengal, West Bengal, East Bengal, and all of Bihar. He was quite a powerful, it was the richest of all the states in the Mughal Empire. So he said, and Rupa and Sanatan's father had been the personal secretary, this personal, even more intimate than the prime minister of the Nawab Hussain Shah. And because of that family connection and because of Rupa and Sanatan, although he was quite had a short temper and, was attacking Orissa and so many other places, he didn't bother the Vaishnavas. He just backed off. So, because you wonder, well, why did he's a meat eater and a Muslim, Osama bin Laden in the 1500s. So why were they serving? Why, But because as long as they were there, it pacified and he took it easy on the Vaishnavas. So. Now, this is Sanatan Goswami's handwriting. This is from the Vrindavan Institute, right down the road from our Krishna Balaram temple in Vrindavan. But, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was because he was saying, well, what do I do? Do I just abandon everything? And Mahaprabhu said, just like a wife, with a paramour, is even more faithful in their duties, but they're always thinking of their secret lover. Because they don't want any suspicion. So even though they're acting in one way, their meditation is another. In this same way, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, you think of Krishna's service, you remember Krishna, and that when the time is right, I'll call you. So next. So this is Nawab Hussain Shah. So Sanatan Goswami stayed home, and he had, I think it says the number, but I've forgotten, of Brahmins, and they were all discussing the Bhagavatam and different subtleties and different nuances and churning the nectar of Bhagavatam. And he wasn't tending to his duties. And finally, the Nawab Hussain Shah showed up. Said, I've sent my physician, and he's investing. He says, there's nothing wrong with you at all. So what is your business? What are you doing here? So you can imagine the scene. Of course, Sanatan Goswami, everyone stood up. They offered him respect because he was the king. So next. So Lord Chaitanya appeared to him in a dream and told him, don't get entangled. Come to Vrindavan. Because he was wondering, well, do I go? Do I what? So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared to him in a dream and told him to come to Vrindavan. Next. So you know the story. The Nawab Hussain Shah was, had a... Prabhupada says that just like rivers change course, you can't trust politicians. They can shift at any time. So he threw him in jail because he was leaving to attack Maharaj Prataparuda, who actually won, but he was on his way to attack Jagannath to Orissa. These are historical figures. These are actual, you can see where their kingdoms were, where their capitals were, their handwriting, so many things. So this is the palace, what remains of the palace of Nawab Hussain Shah. Next. And this is his palace. This is from an earlier sketch when it hadn't quite collapsed so much, but that's the palace, and this is what the Nawab Hussain Shah looked like. Next. And this is the prison where Sanatan Goswami was thrown in jail. This is the prison he was thrown into. Next. And he devised a ruse, just to show you how Vaishnavas advanced, just like Prabhupada was the most practical person in the world. Hayagriva said Prabhupada had his consciousness was in Goloka, but his feet were firmly on the ground. Prabhupada was the most practical person you ever met. So what to do? How to get out of jail? Rupa Goswami sent a secret letter to Sanatan, said, I've left some gold coins with the jailer. You use that to bribe your way out. So Sanatan Goswami, via some means, a man, you can imagine, he was the prime minister. Rupa Goswami was the treasurer, and Sanatan Goswami was the prime minister. So you can imagine his influence and contact. So he was a political prisoner. Somehow he managed to get those gold coins, and he bribed the jailer. And it says in the teachings of Lord Chaitanya, the jailer was very attracted to the gold coins, but he had anyone know what the concern of the jailer was? And it's practical. If I let this man go, and when the Nawab Hussain Shah gets back, he's going to say, where did he go? Sanatan Goswami said, you can tell him that when I went to Pastul by the river, you're a prisoner, you're watching, and I went and bathed in the river and did my business, and I jumped in to try to escape. But because I had iron chains on, I sank to the bottom. Therefore, no body. Because Nawab Hussain Shah would say, well, where's the body? He must have washed up onto the shore. After a while, the body floats to the surface. So where is he? So I said, no, he had the iron chain, so therefore no body. Sanatan Goswami was very practical, how to get out. So it's a whole wonderful story, but we don't have time to tell it. You can see it in the teachings of Lord Chaitanya and in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's full of intrigue. And next. So he made it, Sanatan Goswami. This is in Banaras. This is in the house of Tapan Mishra and Chandrashekhar. I forget whose house it was, but the two of them were living there. And this is, and because he'd been coming he had to go through the forest. He couldn't go on the main public road because the Nawab Hussain Shah would have caught him. So he had to go through all the forest paths and so many things. But he had this one charter that had been given to him by his brother-in-law, had given it to him. They met, and he was there buying horses for the king, and they met, and he gave him this fancy charter. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was, you've given up everything. So, and it's a whole story. That next. So, of course, we know the famous question that people don't ask. They're proud of their power and position and fame and so many different things. But Sanatan Goswami said, everyone calls me Panditji, learned person. Pandita Samadarshana, everyone's calling me learned person. But two primary questions. I don't know who I am, and I don't know why I'm suffering. So who are you? How are you a Pandit if you don't know that universal existential question? Who am I? We had a guy who said that he was, who did he say he was? This is in Detroit. And I think before Ambarish actually moved in, actually became a full-time devotee, Ambarish wasn't coming. This is before the Ambarish time in Detroit, Alfred Ford. So this guy said he was Alfred Ford. And the devotee, and the devotees were all, he was a fake. But the devotees said, maybe he is, maybe he isn't. He was all, he had a fancy car and this and that, So finally, I was a little suspicious. So when he was showering, I went and got his wallet, and his wallet was on his driver's license. So there was no Google in those days. But anyway, we got the guy's home phone. I called, and his mother answered the phone. He was living with his mother. And he said, oh, who does he say he is this time? So, he's in Napoleon or, So we told the guy, hey, buddy, So you may think you're this or that, but if you don't know who you are and you don't know why you're suffering, what do you know of value? So next. So he studied for 2 months and this is where he was initiated. This is in Ramakeli. And this is where he was initiated. I may be wrong about that. But this is a photo of where he studied with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for 2 months and was initiated by Lord Chaitanya. This is the original tree in this tree here where they sat under, because they keep taking cuttings off it and keep it going. Okay, next. So he went to Jagannath Puri with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There's so many wonderful pastimes, but we want to keep going. Next. Read Chaitanya Charitamrita. So he was sent to Vrindavan by Lord Chaitanya. Next. And he was given 4 orders by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to compile the Bhakti Shastras, and he wrote so many wonderful books, to uncover the pastime places of Krishna's Lila Sthana in Vrindavan, to install deities and arrange puja. You have to realize Vrindavan was just an abandoned forest. And there were no deities, no temples. There was no Bhakti Shastra. So many things. And to exemplify and codify the rules of bhakti. Haridas Thakur was described by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as both explaining expertly. He was an expert preacher on the principles of bhakti. But other than Dravida, anyone know what else he was? Okay, you can explain it, but, okay, Dravida. He lived it. So some people speak nicely, but they don't live. Some people live and they can't speak nicely to explain, but Haridas Thakur could explain it, and he also lived it. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told him, exemplify the rules of bhakti, and then also write them down, codify them. So that's his Haribhakta Vilas. Next, and his other books. So just to give you an idea of Vrindavan, this is the transcendental skyline. This is the Jamuna. You get the skyline of New York City or San Diego. Well, this is a different type of skyline. Next. And this is Barsana, Radharani's place. Next. This is Keshi Ghat, where Krishna killed the Keshi demon next. Just gives you an idea. So, Sanatana and Rupa, they were the crown jewels of the Vaishnava community. Sanatan Goswami spent 43 years in Vrindavan. He was called Bhakti Siddhanta Acharya. That was one of the names for Sanatan Goswami. It means the teacher of devotional doctrine. And he taught Sambandha Jnana. You know, there's Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojana. We'll go into that in a second. But first you have to know what is the relationship? How does everything fit? Then once you understand that relationship, what are your functions? How do you act on that? And then the perfection, once you know, and once you act on that level, then what's the ripened fruit? The ripened fruit is prayojana, or pure Krishna prema. So Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, Raghunathas Goswami, they were responsible for this sambandha, or what is the relationship, and then Rupa Goswami was in charge of the function, and Raghunathas Goswami was prayojana. So here you have, he was teaching sambandha. How does it all fit? I'm spirit soul, part and parcel. Krishna is the supreme. I'm Nitya Swarup Krishna Das. That's all flowing and exemplifying by Sanatan Goswami. Next. So his deity, Madan Mohan, was the first of the Goswami deities, the first deity in the first temple in Vrindavan. Originally, that deity was given to Kubja. When Krishna left, then went back to Dwarka, that deity was given to Kubja. You know, the hunchback who Krishna straightened out and that whole story. So then, from Kubja, it was Krishna's great-grandson, Brajanabha. Then, it's 5,000 years, the deity was lost. Deities are manifest and unmanifest, found and lost. So then he was found again by Advaitacharya. So that's a little bit of the lineage. We'll get some more in a minute. But that's the lineage of Madan Mohan. Next, the deity. So this is the place where Advaitacharya rediscovered Madan Mohan in 1516. But then he was instructed to leave him in Vrindavan. And Advaitacharya was going back to Bengal. So, but, heartbroken, what to do to give up beautiful Madan Mohan. So it was Krishna, Madan Mohan said, don't worry, and revealed to him a picture of Krishna that was painted by Vishaka. So he got the painting by Vishaka, one of the, not Manjari, what am I looking for? Yeah, one of the Sakis. Of Srimati Radharani and Krishna. So he got that picture, and it was a fair exchange. He was happy. Okay, next. So what happened is the deity appeared to Sanatan Goswami in a dream. And there were some cowherd boys. He was playing with his cowherd boyfriends, his friends. And so in the dream, Sanatan Goswami followed, joined in, and he was following them. But then they followed him. He was all the way in Damodar Chobe's house. Advaitacharya gave the deity, Madan Mohan, to Damodar Chobe. In the dream, lots going on in dreams. In the dream, Advaitacharya was instructed, leave the deity here, give it to Damodar Chobe. I have a plan. And then you take this picture, go back to Bengal, I have a plan for you there. So in the dream, Sanatan Goswami followed him to the house of Damodar Chobe. But all of a sudden, he woke up out of the dream. He was in front of Damodar Chobe's house. It's on the way from Vrindavan to Mathura. And but all there was the deity. He was looking through the window and he saw the deity. Next. Through the window of Damodar Chobe's house, he could hear how Damodar Chobe was worshiping the deity. And he was chastising, said, why haven't you finished your meal? How will you stay healthy? It was in the paternal ras Vatsalya Ras. He was being worshipped and chastising the deity, and the deity was playing with Damodar Chobe's children. So he saw all of this. Sanatan Goswami could see what was going on. He went back to Vrindavan next. And this is Madan Mohan on top of this is by a British, during the British Raj, about 1800s, end of 1700s, what the temple looked like. So the deity said to Sanatan Goswami, I like the way Damodar Chobe is worshiping me, but now I want to come and I want you to take care of me. Of course, there was an argument, how will I take care of you? You know, I'm an old man and I don't have any resources, plus you told me to write these books. So it's a whole discussion. We'll get into that in a second. And plus, why will you know, so imagine somebody said, I had a dream and I'm taking Radha Giridhari with me. We're moving them to Nebraska. Suppose Mark the Chad had a dream and told him, I don't think he'd get too far, you know? So Sanatan Goswami said, and he's not going to give him to me. So the deity, Madan Mohan, said, conspiratorially, said, you go on this day. Damodar Chobe will be out of station. He'll be there with his wife and his son, one of his children, his sixth child. It doesn't say whether male or female. Will get sick. Will be sick. And you cure it, because the Brahmins, they knew, just like Prabhupada. I mean, there's so many stories. I was in L.A. when Prabhupada cured Kunja Bihari, who was sick. Yeah, Prabhupada, just because, well, we're off track, but it's all right. Prabhupada was in L.A., living in L.A., finishing the Nectar of Devotion in the Krishna book, doing the translating and commentary. And Prabhupada used to walk around the temple sometimes. The kitchen door would open and Prabhupada would look in while we were cooking. I was washing pots. Stoka Krishna had just chunked the doll, you know, and you know, you're cooking for about 35 people. So he had 10 chilies that he'd roasted with cumin and just thrown it into the doll. So, you know, that acrid smell, and everyone's coughing and wheezing. The door opens, and Prabhupada said, just like India. Shut the door and kept on going. So he would walk around. He walked up into the Brahmachari ashram, and there was Kunja Bihari in the middle of the day, sacked out in his cane, sacked out in his sleeping bag. Prabhupada nudged him with his cane. Kunja Bihari was sick. He thought it was just, you know, Keshava, the temple commander, who ran a tight ship, trust me. So he said, hey, buzz off, buzz off. Prabhupada nudged him again with a cane. He said, hey, Keshava, can't you see I'm sick? Prabhupada nudged him again. And he rolled over. He'd been a sailor in the Merchant Marine. He was just about to give it to Srila Prabhupada because he didn't know who it was. And he saw Prabhupada standing there. And then Prabhupada said, why are you sleeping in the middle of the day? He said, oh, Prabhupada, I'm sick. Prabhupada said, what are your symptoms? He told him the symptoms. Prabhupada went. He went back and he told, name slips my mind, Kartikeya. He told Kartikeya that you take this and this, I forget what it was, and you put them in water, you know, fill up this much water, and you boil it down halfway. Then you add this and this and this, and you boil it down halfway, and then you give it to him to drink. So he did it. He took it up to Kunja Bihari. Kunja Bihari, glug, glug, glug. Prabhupada said, drink the whole thing. Told him, you know, you tell him, drink the whole thing. He drank as much as he could. He threw up everything. His fever broke, and he was fine. So it's not uncommon that Brahmins, you know, they know how to do, they're expert. Rupa Goswami carved Jiva Goswami's Damodar deity, big deity, carved by Rupa Goswami and given to his disciple. So they had many, many, many skill sets. So he said, so next. Is that then what's next? So how will Damodar Chobe let you go? This is Sanatan talking to the deity. So next, does it say? All right. So what they did, he went under the instruction of Madan Mohan, the deity, in a dream, telling him, here's what you do. So he went there, sitting outside the door. The wife of Damodar Chobe. He was out of station, had gone for a few days, some reason. She went out, saw this sadhu just sitting outside the door. Said, "Can I help you?" Actually, she said, "Krishna's mercy, my sixth child is very sick. Can you help?" So he came in, cured the child. So she said, "What can I give you? You've saved my child's life. What can I give you?" Sanatan Goswami said, "All I want is the deity." So you can imagine. She said, "Well, my husband's not here. He's not agreeing." And how, but in those days, people's word meant something. "I promised you, but how can I give up the deity?" And then, she's clever. She said, and how will you take him anyway? So she said, "He's an old man." She said, "All right, if you can take him, if you can lift him, you can have him." She's thinking, stone deity? Big size? No way. So Sanatan Goswami went to lift him. He was light as a feather and took him back to Vrindavan. So Damodar Chobe, when he got back, you can imagine, was heartbroken and furious and immediately went to see Sanatan Goswami and said, "Give the deity back." Sanatan Goswami said, "What can I do? He told me he wanted to come. Picked him up. I brought him. What? So if you can, on the same terms, just like I carried him over here, if you can pick him up and take him back, you can take him back." And Damodar Chobe could not even rock the deity. What to speak of pick up? Couldn't even get it. You can rock a little bit. It couldn't even move. So he thought, well, he must be happy here. So it's his plan what to do. It has a happy ending. The Damodar Chobe and his lineage, they became the pujaris for taking care of Sanat. They moved to Vrindavan and took care of the deity. So this is a view from the hill. The temple is up on that. This is the Jamuna. It's a wonderful. Now it's all built up and this and that. But this is how it used to look. 1973. And the Jamuna River was so clean that when you said Gayatri, up to your waist, you're saying Gayatri in the Jamuna, you could see your feet, you could see turtles going by. It's a beautiful river. Next. So this is the Bhajan Kutir. Of course, this was the original, and I have another picture you can see clear, but this is the Bhajan Kutir, and this is the temple. This is where Sanatan Goswami stayed. Next. So after some time, because Sanatan Goswami said, well, I'm an old man. I don't, how will I take care of you? I don't have any money, and So what Sanatan Goswami was living on, he would take wheat flour and a little Ganga jal, make it into dough. We used to make this and called them cannonballs. And we'd bake them in the oven. It's like a chapati, but you just bake it, And they got pretty. So Sanatan Goswami would take a little wheat flour. He'd just bake a little attar, going, "Can you give me a little," like that, madhukari. Then he'd make it with some jamuna, and then he'd, on coals, on a charcoal fire, he just put the ball in there, and that's how he was living. So he was offering it, of course, to his deity. And Sanatan, just see Krishna's sense of humor. The deity said, Madan Mohan said, every day, same thing, Jeez, at least a little salt, put a little salt in it, Sanatan Goswami, this is, the Ras. He said, today you're asking for salt. Tomorrow you'll say, well, there should be at least one sweet. And next thing you know, you'll ask for a little sabji to go there. Hey, I'll do whatever you want. But you want me to write the books? You want me to find the pastime places? Or you want me to do, what do you want? You tell me what to do. So, all right. More important, you write the books and you find the pastime places. But this is Krishna's sense of humor. Next. So there was a wealthy salt merchant coming from the Himalayas. They were getting the pink salt, that pink salt of the Himalayas, and they would fill up a whole boat, and they brought it down to Agra, which is even then was a commercial center, and it's down the river from. And when he was going past Vrindavan, the boat got stuck on a sandbar. So what to do? He gets off the boat. This is not Vrindavan. This is Agra. So he gets off the boat, looking for some help, and because Krishna, the deity, used to turn into a movable form, a cowherd boy, and play. He used to draw water from the river and from a well, and to give to Sanatan Goswami. It's you can imagine the sporting pastime between the exchanges between them. So he gets, the salt merchant gets onto the bank. He sees Krishna playing there with his cowherd friends, beautifully, completely attractive cowherd boy. Says, can you get someone from the village to help me? He said, no. Krishna, Madan, Mohan, in the form of a cowherd boy, said, you go ask Sanatan Goswami, he can help you. So he goes up on top of the hill to Sanatan Goswami and explains the situation. Can you help me? Sanatan Goswami says, I'm an old man, what can I do? You ask this boy, he will help you. So he's kind of relayed back and forth. The whole thing is, saintly Sanatan Goswami, this beautifully attractive Krishna, a little cowherd boy. So he's completely bewildered. So he went back, and what happened is Krishna just looked at the river. The tide changed, the water rose, and the boat was free. So the salt merchant got down to next. Oh, we'll get there in a minute. The salt merchant was so you can imagine, charmed and amazed by the whole mystical event. He took all the money from that sale of that. Remember, Madan, just give me a little salt, So the profit from that whole boatload of salt, rare pink salt from the Himalayas, the merchant donated the money to build the temple. Now this is Maharaj Man Singh. We know more about Maharaj Man Singh. He was the Maharaj of Jaipur. His kingdom went from, Kandahar in Afghanistan, which originally was the place of Gandhari, Prabhupada says in the Bhagavatam, all the way from Afghanistan, all the way across North India into parts of Burma. Just imagine how powerful he was. He became a disciple of Raghunath Bhatta Goswami. But even before then, he's in a Vaishnav line. He convinced Maharaj Akbar. Akbar was, forget Queen Elizabeth I or Louis XIV. Forget it. They weren't even bathing. Forget them. He convinced that let the Goswamis build their temples with this red sandstone. It's called Bansi red. It's that red sandstone. That was only like purple. The color purple was rare and expensive, and in England, so they say the king could only wear the color purple because it was a emblem of his stature. Similarly, the red sandstone could only be used for royal Mughal buildings, government official buildings. But Man Singh convinced Akbar to give the sandstone to, that's a nice story. Next. It's not a story. This is the fatwa, this is the order by Maj Akbar. It's there again at that Vrindavan Institute in Vrindavan. It's his own handwriting, his own royal order giving permission that the Goswamis can use the red sandstone. So these are not, that's a nice, developed like Paul Bunyan or what, over the years. No, it's a fact. Next. So that was built it took them a year to build it, 1580 to 81. It's up, you can see up on the hill. It's actually quite complicated structure because there's the drainage, and how does it all go? How do you make sure that the Jamuna, which was right here, doesn't erode, and how do you make sure from the top doesn't erode? There's a whole drainage system that keeps that hill dry. It's quite blissful. Why? Okay, next. So this is the first temple built by the Goswamis in Vrindavan. There's a reason, we'll get to it in a second, why this top piece is missing and why this is missing. Next. So, and it's a, what do you call it? The archaeological study of India. It's one of the temple example. It's considered the precursor to the carving for the Taj Mahal. It's so expertly done. And anyway, so next. So Damodar, that we said. Okay, next, because we need to get going. Prabhupada said, I heard him say it, that Sanatan Goswami, this is his Bhajan Kutir. There was a well over the side where Krishna, as a cowherd boy, used to bring water to Sanatan Goswami. Prabhupada said he was the unofficial mayor of Vrindavan. Farmers would ask him about copper, because you figure he was the prime minister of Nawab Hussain Shah. He knew all kinds of things. So the farmers would ask him about what to plant and when to plant. So Prabhupada said he would instruct them about crop yield and also marital problems. People would come with whatever he said, they'd settle. They'd come see him on the hill, they'd lay out their case, and whatever he said, people would accept. Prabhupada said even he was making solutions to family problems, marital problems. Then Prabhupada paused, nice theatrical pause. And Prabhupada said, in this way, we are carrying on the tradition. Because Prabhupada would have to sort out amongst his disciples different marital issues, husband and wife are fighting. So can you, and Prabhupada said that, because we'll see that he went to different places, he had different bhajan kutirs, and the people of Vrindavan, I mean, they loved Rupa, they loved all the Goswamis, but they really loved Sanatana Goswami. He was like a father or grandfather. Next. So, Mukundacharan told the story yesterday about Rupa Goswami was praying that he wanted to get some nice things to cook, a nice feast for his older brother's birthday, and Radharani brought them, so he chastised her. Next. There's a whole bunch of... So here are a few pastimes. This is a picture of Madan Mohan, obviously, Sanatan Goswami's deity. And Madan Mohan means Cupid or lust. And Madan Mohan is the one who conquers and bewilders lust. Of course, what's the next, even higher than that? I was thinking Madan Mohan Mohini, which is Radharani, who's the conqueror of Cupid. Krishna's controlled by Srimati Radharani. So here's some pastimes, just quickly. Next. So yes, and Prabhupada says that attachment to Madan Mohan is the key for conquering lust. Madan Mohan and the teachings of Sanatan Goswami are the first step. One cannot really progress in devotional service unless to the degree that one gives up lust, conquers lust, to that degree one can advance. One can actually begin sambandha, to begin the process. One has to curb lust. So we pray to Madan Mohan, Sanatan Goswami's Madan Mohan, please help me conquer lust. Next. This is the Bhajan Kutir at Manasi Ganga. This place is called Chakaleshwara, Mahadev temple. This is Lord Shiva's temple. So it's right, but you can see, well, you can barely see. But right through here is Manasagangi, where Krishna, all the inhabitants of Vrindavan were going to go to bathe in the Ganga, and Krishna didn't want to leave Vrindavan. He said, "Don't worry, I'll bring the Ganga right here." And out of his mind, Ganga appeared there on Govardhan Hill. So right in that place, and we'll show some other pastimes that happened here. But this is Sanatan Goswami's Bhajan Kutir on Manasi Ganga. And when he first moved there, Sanatan Goswami, beautiful place, and it's really sublime. It's right by the Manasi Ganga. It's just really, you can feel it. Even I can feel it. So, but there are too many mosquitoes. So he was packing up his few things, his load and this and that and his books, and getting ready to move. And Lord Shiva said, no, because this place is famous. It's Lord Shiva's place. It's one of the main deities and, protecting the Dham and all that stuff. So Shiva said, no, why are you leaving? I love it that you're here at my Bhajan Kutir. He said, there's too many mosquitoes. He said, no, I'll take care of it. So even today, so the mosquitoes left, he stayed, they all disappeared. And even today, you in Vrindavan can have a lot of mosquitoes. And but in this one spot, no mosquitoes. Next. So this is the Murti inside that. You saw the Bhajan Kutir, this is the Murti inside. And these are Sanatan Goswami's chapels. They're historical people. These things happen. Next. So this is, So while he was there meditating, Sanatan Goswami, Rupa Goswami had written, because they would exchange their books. They would have them, do editing, and like that Hari Bhakti Vilas, that was actually compiled by Sanatan Goswami and Gopalbhata Goswami. Gopalbhata Goswami also edited the Satsandarbha. So there was a lot of exchanging back and forth, You write something, you want to give it to someone else and have them look at it, see if they caught something or, whatever. So I forget what it was that he'd written. I'll have to check that out. But Rupa Goswami wrote that Srimati Radharani's braid is like a thick black snake. So he gave it to Sanatan. Sanatan said, this is not so good. She's a delicate, beautiful, fair princess, and you've got a black snake on her back. And you better change it. So Rupa Goswami changed it. Shortly thereafter, a few days, Sanatan Goswami is meditating. He's there at Manasaganga, and he sees right on the edge, right in earshot, he can see this beautiful young girl. He knows the neighbors, the families. Who is this beautiful girl? And she was surrounded by equally beautiful girls, and they were all going down to take a dip. And they took their dip. They came out, and he saw a black snake crawling up her back. So he yells, "Snake, snake, snake!" She looks over her shoulder, laughs, disappears. It was Srimati Radharani saying, "No, So Sanatan immediately ran to Rupa, put it back in. She likes it. She likes that analogy. So it just gives you an idea of what these personalities are like. Next. Oh, there it is. You can see Srimati Radharani, her braid. This is a whole pastime we don't have time to get into. Next. So he also has a bhajan kutir. Krishna comes back with the cowherd boys from Govardhan Hill. He's coming back to Nanda Maharaj's palace. And on the way back, at the foot of Nanda Maharaj's palace, there's this kutir. There's a beautiful pond. And Krishna, they had been playing in Govardhan Hill. They had covered with dust, the cows. So they would stop in this kund right here before they would go up the hill, up to Nanda Maharaj's place. And they wash the cows off and clean themselves. They would get all spruced up and refreshed. And it's every afternoon. You can set a clock by it. They come past this place. And that was one of Sanatan Goswami's bhajan kutirs. Next. So this is just for fun. This is Nanda Maharaj's palace up on the hill. That kund is down here. But it gives you, it's up on the hill. Next. This is Nanda Maharaj's palace. This is the temple up on top of the hill. Next. These are the deities there. You've got Mother Yasoda, and you've got Nanda Maharaj with a mustache, and you've got Krishna and Balaram. Those are the deities there. Next. At Nandagram. Oh, that we already said. Next. Oh, it's in there twice. Next. Next. Are we going backwards? What happened? Huh? Okay, keep going. Okay, wait. So go backwards. Okay, there we go. I have to pull that out. So this is Aurangzeb, who's Kamsa come again. This is the grandson. Remember that Akbar gave the permission. We'll go quick, but it's a whole story. In 17, so what is it? The temple was built when? 1580? No. 1513. Yeah, so that's when the temple was. So here we are, 16. So about 250 years later, the Aurangzeb is the great grandson of Akbar, and he was such a fanatic that he had a gold pan balance in his palace, small, pan balance. And he would demand a certain weight of a poundage of Brahman threads. He had a weight, and on the other side of the scale, you put this poundage of Brahmin threads. They were Brahmins who'd refused to convert to Islam and had killed himself, or had agreed, or were killed, or had agreed, and the proof was that they'd agreed to convert was they ate beef. Either way, they took off their Brahmin thread. You ate meat, beef, you're no longer a Brahmin, give me your thread, or they would kill him and take their thread. So Aurangzeb, every day before breakfast, every day, he would demand a certain poundage of Brahmins who'd either been killed or converted. When he saw that poundage, then he'd have his breakfast. Oh, things are going on well in my kingdom. So it's a whole story. He saw the light of the Govindaji temple. Yeah, I'm here pressed for time. And so he asked, he was on the roof of his palace. He was in the Red Fort. The Red Fort's in Agra. There's two Red Forts. There's the one in Delhi, the big one. But this is also a massive structure. And he was on the roof, and it's about 35 miles. I mean, you can see the lights of Catalina sometimes if you're in Laguna Beach. And that's 27 miles if it's a clear day. So he was out looking at the stars, said, "What's this star that doesn't move? I've seen it there for 2 days." They said, no, that's the light on a Hindu temple. He was so outraged that there was a Hindu temple that was that prominent. He sent his soldiers. But because, it takes some time, a couple of days to get your soldiers together and go and attack, some nice Vaishnav in the palace slipped the word out to Jai Singh in Jaipur. Maharaj Jai Singh swooped in and saved the deities, a number of the deities, Govinda Dev. But he saved Madan Mohan. That's my point. Next. So this is Red Fort. Gives you an idea of how powerful it is. Next. Just as a sidelight, click back. When you attacked this fortress, they had giant iron balls. They would fill full of water and then roll them out the gate. And they come, this is the only way into the place. You're trying to get into this fort. You're marching up here. And they roll a giant iron ball, like, 15 feet diameter. And now it's full of water. And they just crush you. I mean, they just give you an idea what it was like. Next. So, because he saw the lights on the Govinda Dev temple, and they were originally, it was 5, what happened here? It was 5 stories taller. So you can just imagine. So he sent his army, and they dismantled the 5 stories. And they were going to go from temple to temple, a Goswami temple, and destroy them. Next. So what happened is they were working on the Govinda Dev temple. The deities were saved, but they were dismantling the temple. Now they moved over, and they were just like this Taliban blew up those, World Heritage Buddhist, 12-story statues of Buddha. It's just inconceivable. So they attacked Madan Mohan, and when they attacked Madan Mohan, they were going to work their way to Radha. They were going to work. All of Vrindavan had an earthquake. Prabhupada said Radharani saved them. The whole earth, Vrindavan began to shake, and the soldiers freaked and all left. So they only were able to get part of then they were scared off. So next. So they moved him to Jaipur. This is Jaipur. Next. We'll go quickly. This is the city palace. Maharaj Jai Singh. They were such great devotees. They would sit, when Jai Singh retired, Jaipur in those days was one of the most beautiful cities in the world. It was designed all according to Vastu. According to Vastu Silpa Shastra, the king's palace is in the center of the city. However, Maharaj Jai Singh moved his palace off the center and built the temple for Govinda Dev in the center of the city. And the whole thing lines up down these beautiful fountains and beautiful gardens. And he used to sit, when he retired, he would sit here with a French telescope. and sight down all the, the gardens and fountains, and you could see right into the temple of Govindadev, and he used to watch the puja. He would sit there, he's an old man, he's retired, his son is managing things. He would sit there and chant japa and watch the artis of the deities. That's a Vaishnav king. In this palace, this was also served as the government center, all the taxes and property records and every marriage records, all that stuff. And there's an aisle for all the floors. All the offices are off the sides, and they all sight down a hall on each floor. And at the end, there's a big window, and you look down that window, and then you go down all these outside gardens, and then it comes at the end, there's the deity. And everyone, all the government officers, when they first showed up in the morning, this was the instructions of the king, they all lined outside the door, sight down the hall to the deity and pray that may my service please you today. May I please you in my helping administer the kingdom. And when they left, before they went home, they all lined up on the hall and said, I hope that my service pleased you today. That's Vaishnav king. Next. So this is Maharaj Jai Singh, the grandson of Man Singh, who arranged for the red sandstone. Next. So this is a different place. This is called Karoli. I'll show you a map in a second. But to the Maharaj of Karoli, how many more slides? What slide are we on? 16. Maybe we'll end here, and I'll do this. I'll finish it up because there's some nice stories, and I don't want to take up your time. So we're already a little over. So to Maharaj Gopal Singh, in charge of Karoli, it's a desert. When you get out there, it's just like a desert. Looks like the high desert. What is that? What is that place up there? Victorville or whatever it is. It looks like that. Then all of a sudden you go around the corner, and there's this big lake and an oasis. It's beautiful, and that's where Karoli and the king of Karoli. This is where he moved because they were secure. They were solid kings. They were quite some distance from the Mughal influence. They were still vassals of the Mughals, but they didn't mess with them. They had alliances, so he moved him there. So he appeared, Madan Mohan appeared to the Gopal Singh and said, hey, I want to come to your place. I want you to worship me. I've been in Jaipur for some time. So the Gopal Singh was in ecstasy and said, but Jai Singh's never going to let you leave Jaipur. So he said, the deity spoke to Gopal Singh, the Maharaj, and said, he has a daughter who wants to get married. And he's trying to get his daughter married. You offer him your son's hand in marriage. So that will be a very attractive deal. So, okay. So he goes there, he does it. Let's see if it says the next one. I was saying how there's that river and oasis. It's all desert. It's completely desert out here. And then it's all lush here. This is looking down from the king's palace. And he made the whole place like Vrindavan to get ready for Madan Mohan. And they'd take the Utsav deities down there and have all kinds of festivals, Vrindavan Lila. Next. So what they did was Jai Singh did not want to let the deity go, Madan Mohan, but thought, well, it might be true, how to test it. So he said, I'm going to put 3 deities in a hall. It was Govindadev, it was Gopinath, and it was Madan Mohan. And I'm going to blindfold you, and if you can find the deity blindfolded, then I'll let him go with you. So they blindfolded Gopal Singh, and immediately he walked straight as a bee, right, and grabbed the lotus feet of Madan Mohan. So Jai Singh was satisfied that, all right, this is what he wants to do. So there it is. This is inside his palace. Next. And we'll just finish this pastime and then we'll be done. So in the wedding procession, because remember the excuse for getting there and opening the whole course was that, I'll offer my son as a husband for your daughter. So the daughter goes to the husband's kingdom or house. That's the Vedic tradition. So in the wedding procession, you can imagine it's a princess. You saw the size of the palace. It's a huge parade, right? Usually the bride is in the center of the procession. But in this procession, they put the deity on a palanquin, and the princess walked humbly behind, and the deity was carried in the procession. Next. So just so you know where it is, here is Vrindavan Mathura. Here is, where is it? Jaipur is here. So it's about, figure it's 4 or 5 hours from Vrindavan to Jaipur. About halfway there, you drive down to Karoli. You take a 90 degrees, and it's about an hour and a half. But it's worth it. Next. Just for fun, this is the Maharaja's palace. Imagine trying to scale into this thing. This is probably, what do you say? You were there, Govardhan. It's about at least 3 stories, 4 stories tall. And from his bedroom, you can see the whole plain. You can see the only way to get into the oasis, you have to come in where the river. So he could be sitting in his bedroom, take out a telescope, and he could see at least 10, 15 miles if anyone was trying to get there. He had, anyway, so many stories. He has a cannon on a hill that could pick off at 14 miles away. It could hit armies coming. Yeah, these are kings. Next. So this is the temple. It's hard to see, but this is the mandap, right in the center of the palace. Next. And here's it's a little hard to see, but the deity is right here, Madan Mohan. This is the Jai and Vijay. But Jai and Vijay are dressed like Rajasthani princes, because they're Rajasthanis. Means a lot. Next. And this is Madan Mohan. Beautiful Madan Mohan. Next. And these are the pujaris. The prasadam there is you have to go at right time, but if you time it right, for like 20 rupees, you get a basket. Everything cooked in ghee, everything, just sweets, savories. It's a knockout. It's like going to Natwar. And you can see they're all well fed. It's a very nice temple. Its standard is very good. They have all the artis. Everything's, they got a whole huge kitchen area with 25, 30 Brahmins cooking. It's fantastic. Next. And they recognize the Gaudiya line that as you circumambulate the deity, this picture is probably about as big as that arch. It's a huge picture of Lord Chaitanya. This is, you can see Lord Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya. So they recognize the Goswamis in our line. Next, and then I think we'll be done. Okay, we can end there. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Sanatan Goswami, all glories to Madan Mohan. But the main thing is that we come in this line. This is our heritage. These are the personalities that we're following. It is not something small and insignificant. Okay, thank you, Hare Krishna. Thanks, Prabhu. Sorry we're a little late.